Stop me if you've heard this before, folks, but Chelsea had the lead, but we didn't win. No, why do we do that? We don't do that. Raj Groves lead in Chelsea FC, and you know the phrase, right? Was it counting your chickens before they roost? Yep, that was us, y'all. That was us. About a month ago, remember? Some of y'all were saying title contenders, top four. That was definitely me. Back in December, boy. Oh, just a month ago. It was a foregone conclusion. Now? Now, 3 points in the Premier League have been hard to come by for our beloved Chelsea. Oh, in this game here, I don't know whether to feel lucky that Reece James was healthy enough to come in and save us from a disastrous game, or just to be depressed yet again that we can't get 3 points, and this hold on top four is preciously slim. It's faint. It's giving way, y'all. Oh boy, this ain't good enough. That's all I'm gonna say. I know we got a little spoiled, but still, in Bournemouth, they came in on an 8-game unbeaten streak, but we had dominated them. They hadn't beaten us in 6. But this still isn't good enough. So let's get to the game a little bit, yeah? Couple notes I saw the starting lineup. Lavia was back in the starting 11. Now, we were talking about what does that mean? Who's going to make way for this move? You know, I didn't think he would be in the starting 11, but he was. So the move proceeded to put Caicedo at right back. You know, he's played that in the past, not just this year, but before that. People don't realize. And he inverted, of course, when Chelsea had possession. He converted into a kind of defensive midfielder. So Lavia was a double pivot with Enzo Fernandez, who we'll get to ratings later, but from the naked eye, he had a great game, in my opinion. He was all over the place. Now, I like seeing a youngster, Josh Antchipong, at center back. I say, oh, he's so young. He's just a teenager. I know, but I'm okay with growing pains out of a teenager as long as there's high upside, and I still believe there is with Josh. And looking at Bournemouth's lineup, a young back line, lots of potential there as well. So I thought and was hoping we could take advantage of it, and boy, did we early. Just what I was thinking. I was just thinking to myself, damn, this is another important game for Nicholas Jackson, right? In the 13th minute, Jackson somehow escaped 3 defenders, if you were watching this. He lays off a perfectly weighted pass to Palmer. Palmer had a cheeky little move to put the goaltender on his backside, and bam, finishes. Those are the kind of moves you do in practice, but not for reals in a game unless you Cole Palmer. But you saw in this how Jackson can impact the game with his, holding the ball up and with his dribbles, escaped like 3 guys there. And he did this multiple times in the first half, a little bit in the second, causing trouble for defenders. That's part of Jackson's game. Nevertheless, I was like 1-0. Okay, is this how we going to do them? Let's get them then. But then I'm like, ooh, this last month, I had a little deja vu is what I named one of the videos. Like, oh, we're going to see this again. So I was like, all right, I'm not really going to trip. I'm not going to celebrate yet. And what would a game be without disturbing distribution errors from Sanchez, right? The guy in the post, who I defend for his shot-saving ability. But, gosh, he made just another questionable pass, a ground pass that Bournemouth almost scored twice from, right? From this exchange. And I'm not thinking of the game. I'm not sure I saw one pass completed from Sanchez beyond the center backs, like a simple little pass. Anytime he got it out beyond them, Bournemouth got to the ball first. So it's another kind of game. That's his weakness. We know that. Not going to probably correct that this January transfer window, but going into next season, we just can't have Sanchez or Jorgensen as our goalies. Neither one are the answer, but out of what we have, I still think Sanchez is the best. So we're holding on to 1-0, but I'm like, 1-0, this ain't going to last. We're going to have to score more. Remember, early in the season, we were scoring more. We're not necessarily a clean sheet team, so we got to score goals. We were doing that early, but I was like, oh, it's deceptive because you're scoring goals, but we're not necessarily going to keep people off the sheet, right? So second half, same old Chelsea. Here we go. Penalty on Caicedo, and we're all squared up, right? It's 1-1. I'm not feeling good about it. But a little bit later, there was what would you call this? Not an altercation, but a collision, something once again. Y'all mess with Cucurella's hair. There's going to be penalties to pay for that, but not necessarily. There was no red card. So once they went to VAR, and I'm looking, dude kind of damn near swung, but then yanked the hair a little bit. We saw this happen before, right? And it was a red card. So I thought it was BS. Player went off before for tugging Cucurella's hair. This time it was a half swing, half tug at the hair, and only a yellow after you'd have looked at the damn thing over and over. Now, the announcers were saying, and this is where you got to watch out for that, Cucurella's reputation, let's say, for getting the most out of any contact. Yeah, he will Neymar this mug, right? So maybe that didn't help us there, but I thought it was strange. It was just a red there. So I'm like, come on. Especially if you're going to look back at it, because that means it suggested, like, hey, this is a possible red. And what I saw didn't take anything away from that. Like, you got to take some kind of reputations out and just look at what you're seeing in front of you. I thought Bournemouth should have been down to 10 men there, but it wasn't. Either way, the game gets away from Chelsea, as always, second half. And Semenyo, one-on-one with Josh Achapong. You can say whose fault it was that he even got to be in this position one-on-one, but the youngster lost that one, all right? It's going to be tough for any center back, although I feel like someone like Silva or someone would have squared up and got a foot on there. But either way, fair play. 2-1. Here we go again. Things are looking gloomy, folks. I'm worried, right? Reece James comes on. He's warming up a little bit after the collision or whatever you want to call it with Cucurella. And to Reece James' credit, he saves Chelsea from another defeat. Yup. Bottom right-hand corner. Equalizer late in the match. And you know what? So I just started thinking right then and there. Reece James, he showed right there how dynamic he can be when healthy. I've said before, I think he's like, if not the best, one of the best right backs in the Premier League when healthy. I love the flashes of brilliance we see from him. But my question is, how long will we see it before another hamstring injury, right? Hey, other teams, you seeing this? You watch that game, you see what Reece James could do? You watching? You see what he could do. Yep. I still want to sell him, y'all. So hopefully he stays healthy enough and does this long enough that we can sell this summer. It's not going to happen in January. He's going to have to show a lot more to get the trust back of not only Maresca, putting him in the starting 11 eventually, which he wasn't today, but just for other teams. But I'm just hoping he can last the rest of the season. But that's what Reece James can do. So after it was over, you don't see this often, but Cole Palmer was complaining to the refs after the final whistle. But I'm thinking to the team, you got to look in the mirror. Look at the last month of lackluster performances. And that's what starts happening with a frustrated squad. They start looking for other people to blame. Is that us now? Yeah, I don't know. All right, hey, so let's look at some stats before we get to player ratings. Possession. That's us. We had the ball more, 57%. More importantly than that, though, expected goals, 2.45 for Chelsea, only 1.23 for our villains. So expected? Yeah, we should have scored more than them. Big chances. I'm starting to like that more than expected goals, right? Big chances. 3 for Chelsea, only 1 for Bournemouth, right? Yeah. Again, there was meat on the bone we left out there. Now, here was an interesting, and this is why they had man of the match. Their goalkeeper, 8 saves. Only one for Sanchez, but 8 saves. So we were creating chances, putting the ball in there. Nicholas Jackson, although I thought he did well holding up the ball, missing that header, and that's not a strength, never been a strength. Cole Palmer puts in a great ball in there, and Nicholas Jackson going to the right some, hits it right into the goalie and then misses the rebound. And Cole Palmer, after he had an injury scare that did worry me, I was like, oh boy, put those Nguku transfer speculation, put that on hold, and we'll get to that in another video later. I don't want to do too much time on this, but there's a lot going to be happening here because we might need him. Y'all, Felix might need you, Playboy, because I just don't like to see anytime Cole Palmer is sitting down, I worry about it. But after that injury, he just looked a half step slower to me. And it's not a criticism, just an observation, if I may say so. We have 420 passes to their 315. They had more tackles, more physical. Most teams seem to be with us. Nothing else significant. 3 yellow cards for them, 2 for us. Let's get to player ratings, shall we? I don't like to do them all, but let's say the top 3 performers, however you want to combine that word, for Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez, as I mentioned earlier, I thought he had a good game with the naked eye in the box. Palmer set him up with in the first 5 minutes with a nice cheeky little pass in the box and just a heavy touch from Enzo, but he was all over the place, creating chances and shooting. He had an 8.3. That's tops for Chelsea. 8.3 player rating. Nicholas Jackson, with his beautiful assist and a few shots on goal there, had a 7.4 rating. And Cole Palmer, despite that hot start, he had a 7.3. As you see, it wasn't like the best Cole Palmer game, but you saw flashes of what he can do. Now, some of our worst rated players. Cucurella only had a 6.3 according to the ratings. Caicedo, who played out of position, but it is a position he can play at right back, but did concede the penalty. He had a 6.3, and I'm thinking mainly that was due to the penalty. Other than that, he played okay, wasn't bad. But when you concede a penalty and that basically equalizes the game, that's what's going to happen. Madueke, Nano didn't have a good game according to the ratings at a 6.4. So that was it with the game. Missed opportunity again. And like I said, it just ain't good enough. All right. And this was, remember we got through this rough part of the schedule, and then we were all thinking, wow, this is the easy part. Not so easy. Can't take anything for granted on paper, folks. So what's next? We host the Wolves on Monday, and we could be out of the top 5 by then, or out of the top 4, excuse me. It's Newcastle. Got a game in hand. We could be talking about a Chelsea team out of the top 4. Been a minute since we can do that. Maybe that'll get some sense of urgency around the club, but we can get it cracking again. Man. Anyway, that's what it is, y'all. Another missed opportunity. Smash a like, subscribe. Tell me what you think. What is the main issue with Chelsea right now? Why that hot start, and why don't we have it now? Would you do what we did there, starting Lavia, moving Caicedo, or would you still bring Lavia off the bench or put Lavia in for Caicedo or Enzo? I'm not saying that's the issue, but just trying to juggle this lineup around. You okay with seeing Achipong in there, the youngster, teenager, getting those minutes at center back? I am, but curious to see what you think. Of course, we got the January transfer windows, which I will get into this next video because there's a lot of ish that's going to be happening, I think. So, Raj Groves, believe in Chelsea FC. Big ups to you. Let's keep the faith, y'all, and let's get it, Blues.